This is serious. 5 winter fruits can reduce kidney function in people over 60 by up to 50%. It's not due to alcohol or cigarettes, nor is it a sudden illness. The range is a familiar one, a staple in Korean households every time the weather gets cold. Every winter, I hear the same complaint over and over again in my clinic. Doctor, I'm more tired these days, my heart is pounding, my legs are a little stiff, and I'm urinating more frequently at night. Could it be because I'm getting older? Many seniors think it's just a natural part of aging. But I have to be honest with you. It's not just my problem. It could be the silent scream of our kidneys, which we've ignored for years. Imagine a familiar winter night in Korea. It's freezing outside, but the heating is on inside. The family is gathered in front of the TV, and a plate of delicious, beautiful fruit is on the table. Watching the news, eating fruit, and sipping warm tea feels incredibly warm and peaceful. On the surface, it seems like a very healthy scene. However, what many people don't know is that after age 60, your kidneys don't function as well as they used to. Their function slows down, blood vessels constrict in cold weather, blood pressure fluctuates, and you tend to drink less water. If you continue to mindlessly consume fruits high in potassium and sugar every day, your kidneys will become like old water purifiers, forced to process water filled with waste and debris. For those who already have high blood pressure, diabetes, or kidney disease, this can rapidly deteriorate kidney function in just a few days. The scariest part is that this process unfolds silently. There's no severe pain, no high blood pressure, no clear warnings, until blood and urine tests reveal that your kidneys are already failing and the situation is irreversible. So, in today's video, I'll delve into 5 common winter fruits that many older Koreans eat daily, believing they're good for their health, but which can actually quickly wear out their kidneys if consumed incorrectly. More importantly, I'll teach you how to safely select and consume these fruits to protect your kidneys for more than half a lifetime. If you or someone in your family is over 60, has high blood pressure, has heard from your doctor about kidney function, or simply wants to spend each winter more healthily and comfortably, don't miss a moment of this video. I'll soon share how even small adjustments to your daily eating habits can help prevent unnecessary kidney damage. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel and give a like. It will greatly motivate me to share more secrets to living a long and healthy life without expensive medications. And if you're watching this video from somewhere or simply interested in this health information, please leave a comment with a number 1. I'm really curious where your health improving journey begins. So, what exactly are the 5 winter fruits that are quietly burdening the kidneys of many Koreans over 50? I'm sure at least 2 of them are sitting in your refrigerator or on your desk right now. Let's start with the most familiar culprit, Jeju tangerines. A box full of tangerines, sitting in the middle of a cold winter's harvest, is easy to eat before you know it, as you peel them one by one, looking at the skin. Because chestnut tangerines are small, you might think you can eat a little more, but you're even more reassured because you've heard they're not so bad. However, the sweet potato citrus fruit contains quite a bit of potassium. For those with healthy kidneys, 1 or 2 isn't a problem. However, many seniors have told me, Mr. Kim Chul-soo eats 7 to 10 at a time. He kept eating while watching a movie. Healthy kidneys can excrete excess potassium through urine. However, after age 60, kidney function typically declines, slowing down respiration and increasing the risk of potassium accumulation in the blood. High blood potassium levels can cause abnormal heartbeats, palpitations, fatigue, and even tremors, and in severe cases can be dangerous. I once treated Lee Young-ai, a 65-year-old patient with high blood pressure and weakened kidneys. After a winter vacation, she developed arrhythmia, and tests showed a significant increase in potassium. When I asked her about it, she said, "I ate tangerines every day. One day, my husband and I ate almost half a box." The mistake here is believing that natural fruits are harmless. This is no longer true for kidneys, which have been around for a lifetime. If you're over 60 and especially have kidney disease, it's best to limit your daily intake to 1 small tangerine, eating slowly, and prioritizing lower potassium fruits, which I'll discuss in the next section. The second category includes persimmons and citrus fruits, which many older adults enjoy. Red, ripe persimmons, sweet persimmons, and wind-dried persimmons are not only delicious, but also beneficial in the fall and winter, and it is believed that eating them replenishes blood and is good for your health. However, as persimmons dry, their moisture evaporates and their internal sugars and minerals become concentrated. As a result, a small persimmon can be eaten as much as several candies. Consuming this concentrated persimmon causes a rapid rise in blood sugar, making the stool thicker. The kidneys, like water filters, now have to filter sticky water instead of clear water, making them work harder and more susceptible to damage. Persimmons also contain astringent substances that cause intestinal contractions and can easily cause constipation. If the intestines are unable to excrete waste, the kidneys must handle the extra work. I once met a couple, Park Sung-joon and Choi Eun-suk, both in their 70s. They drank tea with persimmons every night, eating different snacks. Soon after, both became constipated, had increased blood sugar, and tests revealed decreased kidney function. People thought that eating less rice and eating persimmons would help them lose weight, but in reality, it put a strain on their kidneys. People with diabetes or kidney weakness should only eat small amounts of raw persimmons, while persimmons should be avoided as much as possible and should never be eaten almost daily. The third category, which may surprise many, is bananas. For a long time, bananas have been praised as a heart-healthy fruit and a fruit for exercisers. Many retired seniors eat a light and nutritious breakfast of just a glass of milk and 2 bananas instead of rice. This sounds reasonable, but from a kidney perspective, it's a completely different story. Bananas are one of the most potassium-rich fruits. When the kidneys are still healthy, the body can excrete excess potassium without a problem. However, after age 60, the kidney's filtration function gradually declines, and many people take blood pressure medications that retain potassium. Eating 1 or 2 bananas every morning can quietly increase blood potassium levels. I met a 70-year-old man named Jong Ji-hoon, who confidently declared, "I've cut out all fatty foods and only eat 2 bananas every morning for my heart." However, his blood potassium levels were only a few milligrams above the recommended range. Only after he reduced his banana intake did his levels gradually stabilize. The mistake here is to focus only on the positive aspects advertised and forget the reality of having 2 kidneys, which has been the case for more than half a lifetime. If you're over 60 and have kidney disease or taking blood pressure medication, consider bananas as an occasional snack, limiting them to 1 small banana per meal, not the same thing every day. And if your doctor has ever mentioned low potassium, consult your doctor before continuing your daily banana eating habit. Kiwis are in the 4th category. Advertisements tout kiwi fruit as a fruit that boosts immunity, aids digestion, and is good for skin. I believe many older adults are buying a box of gold or green kiwi fruit and eating 1 or 2 every night while watching the news to take care of their health. In fact, kiwi fruit is rich in vitamin C and fiber, but it's also quite high in potassium. Eating kiwi fruit after a dinner of gimmijanguk, seaweed soup, kimchi, braised fish, or meat can result in a significant intake of potassium and sugar, just when your kidneys are exhausted from a long day of work. For those with healthy kidneys, this is fine to do occasionally. However, for those with slightly weakened kidneys, high blood pressure, or taking medications that affect potassium, repeating this every night can quietly increase blood potassium levels. I once met Kong Min Kyung, a 62-year-old woman with slightly reduced kidney function, who ate 2 kiwi fruits nightly to relieve constipation and improve her skin. A few months later, she began experiencing symptoms like a racing heart, bloating, and difficulty sleeping. Tests revealed elevated potassium levels. When we reviewed her diet, the only additional category she noticed was eating kiwi every night. Therefore, if your doctor has told you your potassium levels are slightly elevated or you have an electrocardiogram, you should be very cautious about kiwi. While small amounts are acceptable, they shouldn't be considered a daily treat, especially if you're also eating other potassium-rich fruits. The 5th category is yuja tea, a beverage found in almost every Korean household during the winter. When you have a cold, cough, or sore throat, simply add a few spoonfuls of yuja silk to hot water for a refreshing, sweet, and heartwarming drink. However, a closer look at the label of yuja's silk bottle reveals that it's usually half yuja and half sugar or sorghum. In other words, it's not the mild medicine many people think it is, but but rather a clear, salty yuzu peel and pulp. Drinking 3 to 4 cups of yuzu tea a day can cause a rapid increase in sugar intake in the body. This can lead to fluctuations in blood sugar, thickening of the stool, and the kidneys need to draw out more water to maintain balance. This can easily dehydrate the body, putting stress on kidney cells. The sourness of yuzu also increases the acid burden on the kidneys. For those with already weakened kidney function, frequent consumption of strong yuzu tea can overload the kidneys as their ability to process acid is reduced. I've met many elderly people who, after catching a cold, drank almost exclusively yuzu tea instead of water for several days, only to later experience mild fatigue and increased blood sugar fluctuations. They were quite surprised, as they assumed it was just tea, not a carbonated beverage. In fact, yuzu tea is no lighter in sugar content than carbonated beverages. If you enjoy the taste of yuzu, you can occasionally enjoy a small, lightly tangy glass. If you have kidney disease or diabetes, especially, be sure to speak to your doctor about any sweet or alcohol-related habits so you can get proper advice. With this, we looked around the familiar winter table: a box of jeju tangerines, a plate of persimmons, a basket of bananas, a dessert demonstration, and a cup of warm yuzu tea. At first glance, it all seems very healthy, but when combined with a tired kidney, it can be a significant burden. Realizing this doesn't mean you should fear everything from tomorrow, but rather that you can cut back on things that are no longer appropriate for your age and health and make more careful choices. Now that you've clearly seen the 5 potential enemies on your winter table, you're probably asking yourself, why does everything become so close to your kidneys after age 60? When you were younger, you could eat just as well. Let's answer that question together to understand why your kidneys weaken so quickly after age 60. Every day, all the blood in our body passes through our kidneys multiple times. They filter waste, regulate water and salt levels, preserve essential nutrients, and help stabilize blood pressure. You can imagine tension as a highly sophisticated, silent machine with countless tiny filtration pores. It's natural for this machine, which works day and night, year after year, to gradually wear out. After age 60, many studies show that kidney function remains at only about 60 to 70% of its youthful level. In winter, blood vessels constrict to keep us warm, which can easily lead to high blood pressure. This leads us to drink less water and eat more salty foods. In this situation, if you frequently eat fruits high in potassium and sugar and drink sweet tea, your kidneys are forced to filter out water that is thick and gritty. This all happens silently until the numbers on the test strip speak for you. Fortunately, before your kidneys become severely weakened, your body sends you small but very clear signals that most people ignore. Consider the following signs as your kidneys whispering, "I'm tired, so pay attention." The first sign is a slightly sticky face in the morning. Your eyelids may feel heavier, the area around your eyes may be slightly puffy, or your glasses may feel tighter than usual. This could be due to a salty meal or poor sleep once or twice. But if it happens every morning, it's very likely that your kidneys are not excreting all the waste and are retaining water. The second sign is a deficiency in your feet and ankles. When you take off your socks in the evening, your skin leaves deep marks, and when you press your finger against your ankle, it dents and then slowly swells again. This indicates that water and salt are retained in your body, and your kidneys are responsible for regulating this fluid level. The third sign is in your urine. Your urine contains numerous, thick, small bubbles that persist for a long time and remain discolored even after drinking plenty of water. Sometimes, the bubbles are caused by a strong stream of water, but if they persist and occur daily, this may indicate excessive amounts of toxic substances in your urine. Damage to the kidney's filtration membrane can also lead to protein in the blood that is excreted. The fourth sign is sudden, erratic blood pressure. Previously relatively stable, it may be very high some days and drop others, even without significant changes in diet. Since the kidneys are involved in blood pressure regulation, if your blood pressure is unpredictable, you should consider the possibility of kidney problems. The fifth sign is persistent fatigue. Even after a good night's sleep, you feel lightheaded and heavy, and even climbing just a few stairs can tire you out, leaving you feeling less motivated to walk like before. When kidney function declines, waste products build up in the blood, and your bowel movements feel heavy and slow. If you experience 2 or 3 of these signs, especially if you're over 60 or have high blood pressure or diabetes, don't ignore them. Visit a hospital or clinic to check your kidney function and have blood in your tests. Early detection allows you to adjust your diet and lifestyle, including your winter fruit intake, before kidney damage becomes too severe and difficult to recover. Earlier, I removed 5 winter foods that can easily tire your kidneys from your table. Now, I'd like to share 5 more kidney-friendly friends. Not all fruits are bad. When chosen and consumed correctly, fruits can help purify your blood, smoothen your blood vessels, and significantly reduce the workload on your kidneys. The important question is, what are the smart choices for kidney health among the many fruits available in supermarkets, which have been around for 50 or 60 years? The first friend is the apple, the easiest to find. While seemingly ordinary, when consumed correctly, apples act like a sponge, gently absorbing waste in the body. The soluble fiber contained in apple flesh has the ability to bind to some of the waste products in the blood, such as urea, uric acid, heavy metals, and bad fats, and remove them from the body through the digestive tract. A reduction in blood waste reduces the burden on the kidneys. Apple peels, like the flesh, are a storehouse of antioxidants, which help prevent rust in the blood vessels that supply cells, particularly the kidneys, over time. If you peel them cleanly and discard all the leftover pulp to make liquor, you've thrown away the most valuable part. A smarter approach is to wash the apples thoroughly. Soak them in water with a little vinegar for a few minutes, then rinse them again in tap water. Cut the peels into small pieces and chew them thoroughly before eating. Eating a medium-sized apple slowly about an hour after a meal is much better than drinking a large glass of apple cider all at once. Blueberries, especially frozen ones, are a great kidney friend. This may sound strange, since fresh is often thought of as best, but blueberries are a little different. Blueberries have a fairly hard shell, and inside, they contain a lot of dark blue-purple substances that help protect blood vessels. When frozen, tiny ice crystals break down the cell walls, releasing more of these beneficial substances, allowing them to be absorbed better by the body than eating them raw with their hard shells still intact. The kidneys have countless microscopic blood vessels, which can be easily damaged by high blood sugar, blood pressure, and prolonged stress. The substances in blueberries act like armor, strengthening blood vessels and slowing aging. When blood vessels are soft, blood circulation improves, and the kidneys are better supplied. However, for the elderly, even small amounts of alcohol can affect blood pressure and increase the risk of falls. That's why I often tell my patients, instead of relying on alcohol, consider the alcoholic purple grapes. The skins and seeds of purple or black grapes are rich in substances that help keep blood vessels flexible and reduce chronic inflammation within blood vessel walls. A well-protected vascular system benefits both the heart and kidneys. However, to take advantage of this, you must take a sedative and, if your stomach allows, chew the grapes thoroughly. Don't rush to eat only the sweetest flesh, spitting out the skin or discarding the seeds. I recommend that my patients choose grapes with seeds and not too sweet, chewing on the pulp and eating them slowly each day, instead of drinking commercial grape juice. Bottled grape juice is usually heavily sugared, making it more harmful for people with diabetes or kidney disease. It's much better to eat a small handful of purple grapes slowly than a glass of sweet grape juice. The fourth friend is strawberries. This familiar, yet sometimes overrated, fruit has important benefits for people with kidney disease. While it has a much lower potassium content than many other fruits, it's rich in vitamin C and cell-protecting compounds. For those with high blood potassium or who have been advised by their doctor to limit potassium-rich foods, strawberries can be a more comfortable choice than bananas, citrus fruits, or kiwis, provided they are consumed in moderation. However, the method of consumption determines most of the benefits. Dipping strawberries in sugar or drizzling them with condensed milk or whipped cream will dramatically increase the sugar content, negating almost all of the benefits. The best way to eat fresh strawberries is to wash them thoroughly, drain them, and eat them directly. To reduce the tartness, You can mix them with unsweetened yogurt and cut them into small pieces, but keep the amount in moderation. The mild tartness and sweetness of strawberries stimulate the appetite, but they don't spike blood sugar levels like some other fruits. The fifth friend is a special case: tomatoes cooked in oil. Some people classify tomatoes as vegetables, others as fruits, but for me, when cooked correctly, tomatoes are good for the blood vessels and kidneys. Tomatoes have a special red pigment that dissolves well in oil. Cooking tomatoes with the right amount of oil releases and absorbs this pigment much more effectively than when eaten raw.